This is KUGAN CASSIUS for Rifle TV in association with MTK Global. It's Las Vegas. Well, do we need an introduction into this fight week? It's
no,
it's
this
huge
is the one, isn't it? This is a mega fight and a mega week in Vegas with the two best heavyweights in the world.
I keep pointing out that in this kind of heavyweight era where we keep talking about fights we haven't had with Tyson and Joshua and all these kind of fights, we have to remember that we're getting a second fight within 14 months of each other, which is not to be overlooked, that is it?
You cannot knock Tyson Fury for stepping up to the plate. As you say, this is the second one with the hardest punching heavyweight in the last 35 years. And before that, he steps up the plate and went to Germany to fight the best fighter of his generation in Klitschko in the other guy's backyard. So no one can ever criticise Tyson Fury. He fights anyone. He's a fighting man. And the Anthony Joshua fight could have been made at any time, but all them stupid 70-20, was it 80-20, 70-30 rubbish? It was never going to get on, was it? And now, AJ, it's funny how the world turns around. He's in the slipstream with these two guys. These two guys are the number one, number two heavyweights, depending who you fancy out of the two of them. Me, obviously, it's Tyson. And the winner of this one will be the best heavyweight on the planet. So Anthony Joshua needs the winner of this.
I was talking to Tyson about this yesterday, and I said to him, if the winner of this fight doesn't fight Anthony Joshua, or isn't to fight Anthony Joshua, can they still call themselves the number one if they haven't all fought each other? And he says, yes, because Joshua's lost to Ruiz.
Yeah, well,
fair comment from Tyson, is that?
Why is it the winner of this who doesn't fight him becomes number two to Joshua? I don't get that. You know, look at the records. These are the two best. It's the best fighting the best, undefeated, best fighting the best. The biggest puncher in the last 35 years, and we know. And without going all the boring everyone to death about who made this offer and who didn't, we all know what the truth of the matter is. He had a massive offer to fight Wilder and turned it down from Heyman and the connections. We all know that. Anyone in the business, even Barry Hearn at the end of the day admitted it. That offer was made, despite what certain boxers have said. But it's a fact it was made. So it doesn't matter what Anthony Joshua says. It doesn't matter what Eddie Hearn says. It doesn't matter what any of them say. The public know these two are the two best heavyweights on the planet, and the public know that the winner of this fight there'll be another fight if the loser calls it on. If not, get the fight on with AJ. It's not a problem. What have I said all the way along? You want to make the fight? It's a 50-50 deal. We ain't even going to say now it's 60-40 that you're fighting the best and you get 40% and Tyson gets 60, which is really how it should be, because he's the biggest star out of one thing's for sure, the biggest star out of these fighters is Tyson Fury. He's more well known in the States than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is known in the States for getting beat by Ruiz. Tyson's is that gallant guy who got off the floor, took the fight in the last round to Wilder, nearly had him out, and got robbed. So that's how it is. And depending on who wins this fight, and I think Tyson wins it. But at the end of the day, is that the winner of this fight is the number one. Don't matter what anybody says. You can talk about it all day long because Tyson says how it is. Ruiz beat AJ, and he didn't just beat him. I mean, he beat him. That was quite a bit of a beating he took there in New York. He come back. Listen, he trained and done brilliantly the next time. Got his title back. Good tactics on the back foot. Done everything he had to do. Professionally did it. Trained. You can see what he did. He trained, had a game plan. Ruiz, on his own admission, trained in his kitchen. So that was it. So don't anybody tell me who's number one and number two or number three. I know it. I know who the 1, 2 and 3s are in my mind. I've been doing this a long time and people can keep saying what they are. And at the end of the day, you want to sort it out and stop all the bullshit, stop all the rubbish and all the you're being spouting off to the cameras and to the radio stations. Get round the table and do the deal, because that's all that matters. All the public want to see is a deal. It's about the boxers. It's about the public. It's not about me. It's not about Hearn or any of the other promoters. It's about delivering to the public the fights they want to see, and that's what we should be doing, and there's the fights they want to see, and I want to see as a fan. I want to see Tyson against Wilder. We've made it happen once. Want to see the rematch, which is happening on Saturday, and we want to see Joshua in there. We have no problem with us. None of these guys are ducking AJ. I'm telling you that, none of them are ducking him. They would not. I don't think either of them have got a concern in getting in the ring with him.
When Tyson's asked over the last few weeks about potential fights after this, he's quick to point out that it's contracted that there is a third fight. Yeah. Under what circumstances might that third fight not happen?
If the loser doesn't want the rematch.
Right. If one of them doesn't want it,
you sit down and you work a deal out and maybe steps aside to make something. Who knows? You know, it's up to us to try and make it. But it might be such I think it's going to be an exciting fight. We want to see it again.
With regards to Tyson Fury, obviously he came out to America the first week of January, obviously with his new trainer, Sugar Hill. Stewart. How do you think that's going to play a part, that relationship he spent over the last couple of years developing with Ben, which was successful, is no longer there anymore, and Sugar Hill comes in? Well,
Tyson is an astute boxing man. No one's going to teach him the art of boxing. It's a natural ability with him. He's not some young kid starting out. He's 30, 31 now. So what you're going to do is hone some of his skills, maybe change some tactics and so forth. Ben done a terrific job with him, no doubt about that. It was a great partnership. I was quite shocked that it split up, but it was a great partnership. But when he appointed Ben as his trainer, everybody said, "Who's Ben?" It's a bit of a thing. And I knew of Ben, and I'd spoken to him, and I know that I remember he trained with Bill, and he was very unfair what happened with Bill, because he got Bill overweight. Not down to him, obviously. Bill, when he had that fight up in Scotland, was overweight, and Ben sort of basically was getting a can for that, and it was wrong. He's a good trainer, and he's going to develop into being a great trainer. There's no doubt about it. But Tyson, for whatever reason, and it's up to him because he's the guy getting in the ring, has said no for this fight. He wants to change what he's doing, and who am I to argue with a guy who's getting in the ring, who knows the business? He's getting in there this time. With Sugar Hill, he's got a great track record. He's worked with him in the past, so he knows him. And he's got Andy Lee there working with him as well. So I think it's a good combination. And I spent a bit of time with him last night, and he's mentally in a great place. And physically, I don't think I've ever seen him so well.
Because I did ask him, I said, in an ideal world, would you have wanted kind of longer with Sugar Hill? And he said no. He said he thinks he's had the right amount of time with him in the lead up to this fight. And like you said, he's worked with him in the past, so it's not a complete stranger.
Tyson is not an idiot. He's a boxing man. He's not a fool. You can't tell him how to do it. I can say something. I've been around long enough to say something. But he knows better than I do. So it's not a problem for me. That is not a problem. He is a very, very astute boxing man, and he's made his thing. Ben done, as I say, repeat myself, done a fantastic job, not just in the ring, the training, but being with him on that climb back to get to where he is. From where he was to where he is, done a fantastic job, no doubt about that.
Frank, Eddie Hearn said on TalkSport the other day that he'd heard that, or suggested that they'd heard things in camp with Team Fury weren't right, which has swayed him to think that now.
Who gives a shit?
I just wondered where this come from in the first place.
It come from Eddie Hearn, that's where it come from. What do you mean? Who cares what he said? I mean, what do I care what he says? What does Tyson? What does he look like, Tyson?
Well.
How well does he look?
Yeah, very well.
Do you look like he's had a good camp?
He does.
Tell
he
me,
looks like he's had a good camp.
Do you think he looks like? Does he look like he's? You seen him in such good shape?
Not for a while. So, yeah. No, I would agree with that. I just wondered where this coming from.
Where it comes from. The only person it comes from is who's more important than the fighters.
I did ask Tyson yesterday, and he said that obviously rumours happen all the time concerning injuries, and obviously he had that cut, etc. But unless it comes from Tyson, I suppose we have to take everything.
Not unless it comes from Tyson. You got eyeballs, you see yourself.
But obviously, what happens behind closed doors, we don't always see everything. So,
Well, listen, when boxers are sparring, working, especially when you get into sparring, some days you might have a bad day. I don't know whether he's had a bad day. He might have early getting in their first couple of days. Who knows? But there's been no problems in that camp. It's a happy camp. You go there. They're good. There's a good team spirit about them. I think why are we wasting our time talking about what he's got to say? Who gives a flying shit about it? I don't. Let's talk about real things. Genuine things that are going to happen. I mean, I hear lots of things about allegedly all the deals that have gone out in the Middle East. But maybe some people don't know about or involved in it. But who cares? It's not my business. Let's worry about my business and let's talk about what we're here for, not what somebody, as always, has got to say, got something to say which they continue to do. The same bloke who said that Josh Warrington lost the fight by 2 rounds to Galahad and then said it's a draw. He says whatever suits at the occasion. That's what he does. Let's move on.
When you hear Tyson Fury say he's going to knock Wilder out in 2 rounds, he's said this quite vividly over the last 2 weeks especially. What do you think?
I think he will stop him.
You do believe that?
I do believe he'll stop him.
Does he need to stop him? Has he got a concern?
Of course he needs to stop him. He won the last fight and he got robbed. So in his mind, he's back in the other guy's backyard. He got 3 American judges.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So in his mind, that's his mindset. And at the end of the day, you look at the styles of the fighters. So you look at Wilder, massive puncher, one of the biggest punchers in heavyweight boxing in the last 30, 40 years. Massive puncher. But that's what he is. He's not a great boxer. You've seen him in nearly all of his fights being behind on the scorecards and then pulls a punch out of the bag and dramatically changes the fight. He's exciting. You see him do it against Tyson. Put him on the floor, but Tyson got up. Unlike all these others, he got off the floor. And by the end of the round, he wobbled him. He wobbled Deontay. Took the fight to him. So he took his shots. You got Tyson, who is probably the most consummate boxer in his generation. Great boxer, great boxing brain. He showed that against Klitschko, done what he had to do to win the title in the other guy's backyard against the best heavyweight of his generation. Can box at the front foot, back foot. He's got fast hands. He's got great eye, brilliant reflexes. Southpaw, orthodox. He's got plan A, B, C, and D. Can do all of that. So this fight, you've got to think that if the fight goes the distance, you're going to get that Deontay will get outboxed. Because I can't see him outboxing Tyson. But I can see Tyson, as I said, he's got all these different game plans. I can see him taking the fight to him and putting it on him. And I think with all what he does and his boxing ability, I think he will give Deontay a lot of problems. And the only way I think that Deontay can do something different, as he says himself, fighters have to go 12 rounds to beat him, whereas he can change a fight in 2 seconds. I think he's he's not quite getting that Tyson is capable of stopping him. He is capable of stopping him. He stopped 20 odd of his opponents. And I think that Tyson, when that bell goes and reality sets in, I think he'd be the boss. So I can see him coming out. Be interested to see what weight he comes in at Deontay. I think he'll come in. I don't think he's going to come in too heavy. He needs speed. Is he going to outbox him? No, he's not. He needs speed, and he's going to need that speed because he's going to come out throwing those bombs. I think he's going to come out trying to take Tyson out because he's not going to come out and start jabbing with him.
Do you think we'll see a situation where Tyson possibly has to pick himself off the canvas
if he gets caught by this fella?
Yeah.
That could well happen. But the thing is, Tyson's capable of getting off the canvas.
We've seen it.
We've seen it twice. He's done with him. He's capable of getting it. And the thing is Deontay capable of getting off the canvas?
Yet to be seen.
Exactly. So there's a lot of. That's why it's so exciting. And that's my view of it. I mean, other people have got totally different views of fights, and they look at it in a different way. Shelley think his man's going to just walk through Tyson, but we will see. And Shelley's a very astute boxing man. I've got a lot of respect for him.
Frank, I've got to say, it seems like BT Sport have done a brilliant job pushing this fight out.
Amazing.
With some great, like, especially like the online content has been
And the ads,
brilliant.
yeah.
The breakdowns we've seen recently, there was one with Ben Davison that was particularly good, and they've done so much stuff, and props to them. How many buys are you hoping to achieve Saturday night?
I want to see it do at least double what it did last time. Remember, going into the last fight, no one gave Tyson an earthly. I mean, they didn't. They went into the fight and no one tipped him to win. I think it's only Tyson and myself who fancied the fight, fancied him, and no one really gave it to him. And that done extremely well. 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and it done really good numbers. It done much bigger numbers than everybody anticipated. So this one, I think, will do much better than that.
No.
Could you come back, please? We're just doing something.
Frank, obviously, we found out today as well that your UK show from York Hall is a little bit surprising. It's going to be aired on ITV as well.
And BT.
Yeah,
similar.
Which is,
BT are going to show the early fights, and then the main event and another fight will be shown on ITV.
How did that come about?
We've been working on this for quite a while, and we felt it's a great opportunity. So hopefully it's going to be the first of a few of them.
Obviously for Brad Foster and Lucian Reid, that's fantastic, isn't it?
And for the other couple of guys that will be on there, it's a great slot for them.
Is this something that could be repeated in the future?
Yeah, we've been working on it to get a terrestrial broadcaster partner with BT and ourselves to moves forward, and evolve. That's what we're trying to do. It's going to be great hopefully for the buyers as well, because obviously there'll be a lot of Tyson Fury content. They're going to be showing his previous fight, the first fight. That's going to be aired. They're going to be showing parts of I think the BT documentary that's been done. So it's going to be a really good lead up to this one in Vegas.
We look forward to it. Frank, just kind of moving aside from this fight this weekend, there's been a lot going on, obviously, regarding yourself. It was a bit of a shock to learn that you'd parted company with Josh Warrington, seeing that obviously over the last couple of years he achieved his dream of winning a world title at Ellen Road, and he had a couple of tough fights after that with Frampton and Kid Galahad, which he came through. Could you talk to me a little bit about what has happened there?
Well, we were working, and I was quite close to getting the Shakur Stevenson. It was just a little part on the money, and I was obviously Bob Aaron and myself been discussing that, and we were quite close to getting it done. But the IBF put out their the mandatory with Kid Galahad, and I made it very clear after the previous fight, and when they made that final eliminator, I said, who would ever want to see that game? People were talking about a rematch. I said, I wouldn't want to be putting it on. We paid a lot of money. We outbid Matchroom, who they had Galahad to win, to give Josh the advantage in Leeds, and we. It just wasn't, Josh came to fight, and Kid Galahad come to spoil and tried to nick the title, and it didn't make a good spectacle, and it was, and I felt for Josh. But we are where we are now, and I've got to look at things and think to myself, what do I want, or not I, Queensbury, what do we want to invest in? Where do we want to go forward? And we made our offer, and that was our offer. I don't want to go into the details of it, but that's what it's disappointing in some ways because I had a good relationship. Some stuff had gone down behind the scenes, which really pissed me off, but that's this sport. People have always got something to say, some whisperings and so forth. But we are where we are, and as I say, Josh, I think, put his statement out, we put ours out, and I wish him the best, and hope he goes on to achieve what he should do and unify the belts.
Yeah, it did come a bit of a shock just because of kind of how the last 2 years have played out.
We had a good relationship, and listen, I delivered everything I said I'd do from day one from him. He was the fighter that wasn't a lot of interest was shown in him. I don't mean by the public, I'm talking about by his promoter and his broadcasters. They didn't show a lot of interest in him, and I spotted what I felt he was capable of doing and invested in that. Queensbury invested heavily in it to get him into the position to make these things happen. And obviously he's done the business in the ring and done it in great style. You talk about fight. You missed the Selby fight off. in his hometown.
Well, I did say that's the first thing I did say. That
Sorry, and the eliminator we put on to get him into the position to fight Selby. So it was what it is, and you know, we move on. We got some really good shows coming up in the summer. Some really good shows. Oh, sorry, in May, and another one in June, which we'll be announcing fairly soon. But we're doing Josh Taylor's fight.
So on the 2nd of May?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a proper press conference of that when we get back from here. And obviously we've got that massive heavyweight fight between...
Dubois and Joyce.
That's a good fight.
And
The
Joe's
two
obviously
best
out,
heavyweight fights out there to be made are both on BT Sport, both of them. You know, you think about those the two next level guys coming through in Daniel and in Joe. That is a cracker of a fight. I mean, everybody's got an opinion about that. And the fights where everyone's got opinions are brilliant. You know, that's what it's all about. And obviously, we've got this one on Saturday, so I'm really, really sort of pleased with the fights that we are putting together for the fans. And as I say, Josh Taylor, and we're announcing some other dates soon. Anthony Yarde's coming back, so we've got quite a few things that we're working on.
Frank, is it frustrating for you, like with Josh Warrington's situation and obviously Billy Joe recently? Would you rather them didn't go to Matchroom and went abroad?
No, I'll be quite honest with you, I don't think about it. Billy Joe was I got to a situation, and I think I've told you this before, where it was frustrating at the end. I couldn't get any momentum going with him. You know, Lemieux, coming off that win, then he's out of action. You know, with the fights we want to make, Mike Murray fights twice didn't happen. So you're not building on the wins. And then we had the unfortunate thing with Andrade. You know, no one can say I got in the way of that fight happening. Yeah, I fancy him to beat Andrade, so let's get, if we've got to go in the other guy's backyard, got to do it on another promoter's show, we did it. We had no problem with that. And unfortunately, that Massachusetts thing, which was a disaster, which, you know, and let's get it right, you know, Matchroom didn't help him. It's not like they went to bat for him or anything. So he lost out on that fight and got as a result, had to vacate his title. So again, the momentum was lost. Then you've got to bring him back. And that's expensive. It's not like you're bringing a fighter back and they're knocking down the doors to watch it. You know, the fights are what they are, so they're expensive. And then I'll get him a title fight for another title, get him into the one spot so he fights for the vacant title for the super middleweight, get him up there again, and we are where we are. Then we're sort of discussing things, and at the end, I'd started when he was 18 years of age, British, Commonwealth, European, two-weight world champion, all the things. Done everything I could do, and sometimes in difficult circumstances when he's been a bit of a sod outside the ring, you know, with his weight. I mean, stop him losing his title, went to go and stick a fight on in a 1,500 seat venue up in Scotland. But I like Bill, so that's why I did it, and I believed in Bill, and we worked very hard. But at the end of the day, you've got to look at it and think what it is. So I made my decision. He couldn't go anywhere because I had a contract. I made the decision. No one said, oh, we're going to part company. I said, Bill, maybe it is. This is what it's going to take for us to do our deal. You can go your way and go mine. We shake hands, we remain friends, and I wish him the best. And I think you can beat Alvarez if he's not been misbehaving outside the ring and his weight and so forth. I believe he's got the ability to beat anybody on his night. I wish him the best for the future. And I really do hope he does win it. But that was my decision. You know, we discussed it, we spoke, and that was at the end of the day. I could have said no, but I said, that's where we're at. With Josh, we didn't renew our agreement. The agreement expired last December, and from there on, you've got to make commercial decisions, and we've made a commercial decision. And he made a commercial decision, so we are where we are. You know, it is what it is, but you move on. I'm not one who I'm not going to dwell on that. I know, you know, that's happened, so now we're doing Josh Taylor's fight.
I mean, how many fights have you seen come and go over the years and
listen,
even return back to you?
It goes everywhere. You know, Nigel Benn went off, and then came back. Said he shouldn't read his autobiography. Should never have gone. They're not my words. That's in his book. Nassim Hamid, the best thing he ever did was with me. Wish he'd never left. They're his words, not mine. That's what happens. The grass is always green, but sometimes what makes it green is bullshit. And they listen to it, but that's not. It is what it is. All I care about is I want to be involved and spend my time on fighters who I feel that, that I will enjoy working with. I don't want, I mean, obviously it's a business where you get lots of headaches, but I don't want headaches, unnecessary headaches. At the end of the day, I want to do the right thing, as I always try to do, buy the fighter and deliver what I try to promise to deliver to them. And I've done that with Josh Warrington, and I've done that with Billy Joe. Don't tell me, it must be nearly, was it 10 months since we split up or so? He's had a fight in between it. It must be.
Yeah, I mean.
So he said, taking me. By the time it happens, I'm not sure the exact date. It'd be 10 months or maybe a year. By the time he fights Alvarez, I'm not sure the exact same. 10 months. We'd have made that fight anyway by then, because Alvarez is looking to fight someone. That's what it is. So, but it's irrelevant to me. I'm happy with the deal I did with him. That's done. All I'm focusing on now is the good fights and working with the really good fighters, the next generation of good fighters coming through.
It must have been welcoming then to see Daniel Dubois obviously extend his contract recently that you put out. So
yeah. So I'm pleased with that, and irrespective of the outcome of the fight with Daniel and Joe, we'll continue working with the both of them. They're two good guys. There'll be a winner and loser, but that's what boxing's all about.
Just going back to Anthony Yarde, could he feature on the Dubois and Joyce card?
That we're working on that to happen. Yeah, that's what I'd like to happen. He's back in. He had a run out in Spain. He had a problem, and they just want to make sure it was all right, and it worked all right for him. So I want to get him back in action and get him out soon and get him back into the position where he can fight for a world title again. Was
there any discussion regarding Canelo and Yarde, because that was being talked about at some point?
I didn't want to fight him. He didn't want to fight him. You look at that fight, he was doing better than Canelo was against till he stopped Kovalev. He was doing well in that fight. Could have won it. He was that much away.
Just probably that little bit of lack of experience.
That's what it was.
Level,
and tactically, doing what he did when he had him in trouble. I think it's about the 8th round. Was the 8th round, wasn't it? You put it on him earlier. But anyway, he's learnt from it. It's gone. You can't change it. You can sit there saying, why this and why that? Who cares? That's gone past. Nothing's going to change that. It's got to work on it and learn from it and move forward.
Frank, situation regarding Liam Williams. I know you've said that he's sort of closing in, hopefully very soon, on a shot at the world title. What's been happening behind the scenes with Liam?
Well, we've got to see what happens with Andrade. I don't know where he's going to vacate, go up in weight. I don't know where he's going to fight this what's his name? Manguia. Munguia. He's going to fight him or not. We'll see what happens whatever happens, because the unknown thing about it was Munguia come up from being the champion to get that one slot, which Liam should have been in. But what will happen is the winner will have to fight Liam if they fight each other. I don't think they're going to fight each other, but who knows?
But hopefully at some point
he'll fight for a world title. I think he'll fight for either an interim or a world title by June. I want to keep him busy. He had a tremendous win. Again, look, we put our money up where our mouths when I brought the guy over here, Fox over there. And so again, it's another fight where people didn't fancy him, and he'd done a job on him. That was probably the performance on the night, wasn't it?
It was a very good win from them, for sure. What's the situation? Obviously, we heard you put a press release out about BoxNation, the link up with Premier recently. But what is the current state with that, Frank? Is that all going well? Yeah,
it's going very well. They've had a few title fights on there, some good fighters on there, so it's good for the subscribers. I told you it would be, and everybody's worked hard to keep that going.
BoxNation, obviously you started years ago, and I suppose
8 years ago. It's going to last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. 8 years ago, it's still going today. So, can you see there's a long-term future there for BoxNation, Frank?
It's been going for 8 years.
I know, but I'm saying
a long time
from here onwards.
Yeah, of course I can.
Yeah.
It's cool. Why shouldn't there be? It delivers, and and it'll evolve, and it will evolve. Contrary to everybody, not everybody, but certain people again who they're spatting their mouths off. It won't last 5 minutes or whatever. They were proven wrong, and it is there, and it is running, and it is evolved, and it will continue to evolve.
Obviously, your deal with BT Sport has had an impact on it, which was always good.
But the fact of the matter was that BT were actually objective was for BT to buy it, but they had a few problems internally from one of their businesses in Italy, so it just didn't happen. And we were like that close to getting the deal done, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. So, as I say, you know, you've got to keep moving forward, and that's what we've done. And it's in a position now where, as I say, it's stabilised. You know, we're getting title fights on from abroad on there again, and Premier are doing a great job in looking after the broadcasting of it.
Okay, well, we've got the press conference today,
Yeah.
Which is a little bit later on, which should be interesting.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen?
With Tyson, you never know, do you?
Oh,
But it will be
Deontay,
interesting.
to
No
be
doubt.
fair, I mean,
Yeah, well, both of them.
they kind of
I
complement
see
each
him.
other well.
I see him yesterday, and Deontay looks in tremendous shape as well. I mean, they're both at the top of their game. You know, this is what's so good about this fight. They're in their prime. It's not the old guy fighting a young guy, or the new kid on the block fighting, you know, passing of the baton. This is like two at their prime. So you're going to get something special.
Bob Arum's got a record of saying he believes it does over 2 million buys in the US.
Well, I hope he's right, but there's not one thing about it. It could be having more promotion than it's had. It's had massive promotion. It's on Fox and it's on ESPN, which is a good combination. So you've got that outlet. You've got that app, the ESPN app. That McGregor's UFC fight did just over 1 million buys on their app. So you got that added to it. So it could easily do that. We hope. And it'd do big in the UK.
Think about Vegas, isn't there? I mean, at the MGM especially, obviously, historically over the years from Floyd Mayweather's home, and there is something different there anywhere from, even in the US, fighting
it's
the MGM in Vegas.
It's the entertainment centre of the world, isn't it? And boxing's always played a big part in that. I mean, when I come over as many years ago, when all the big fights used to be at Caesar's Palace in the car park. That's going back to the bloody hell alley, going back to what I certainly remember is the Ray Leonard fights and all those fights coming back over the years. I mean, they're just brilliant atmosphere. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, excuse me. Frank, listen, thank you very much for your time. Have you got anything
pleasure,
else you'd like
No,
to add?
I think that's about it, really. All good. Anything else you can think of?
No, just, I said, if you don't even have to tell people to tune into this, because if they're not watching it...
This is the best heavyweight fight in a long time, 30 odd years, in my opinion. Looking
We
forward to
have
it.
no idea what's going to happen. That's what makes it so exciting.
Of course, and they're coming off such a great fight before. If it's half as good as the last one, we'll be entertained.
Well, it's half as entertaining as that.
But you've got a fitter Tyson Fury, a much fitter guy, not training to make the weight, getting the weight off. His weight's been pretty stable for the last 14 months. So he's training for the fight, and that's the difference.
Okay, well, Frank, very much appreciate your time, and we look forward to the press conference later on today, which will be quite later on, at 9:30, I think, UK time. So, yeah.
Good.
Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas.
Frank Warren, thank you very much.
A pleasure.